What's up, everybody? Low red eyes. I see you pop up. I was sitting over here setting stuff up. I'm like, nah, I'll go live right now. My buddy's here right now. What's the word, everybody, man? Hope everybody's having a great 4th of July. I mean, it's not 4th yet, it's the 3rd, but happy 4th of July. It's about to begin. The madness is about to start. Everybody's about to get turned up. I'm supposed to be going and seeing a bunch of ex-convict friends at a party. Hopefully, we'll get some footage, man. If you're watching, Corey, Mega, you know who you are, bro. Salute to you, man. I'll probably be out there, just saying. So tonight we got some special, a special guest hopefully calling in. Again, they're calling from the feds. Everything's all set up this time, though. He's supposed to be calling, so we're hoping that happens. And we got Boo Boo calling in to start to tell his life story, because that's probably going to be the most interesting story there is. So how's my sound, everybody? Am I sounding good? Am I looking good? I got the new mic all connected. This is all my own setup tonight. Like, I'm not even using any studio equipment. This is all me tonight. I'm stepping up my gear in every direction. Like, and also I'm about to get into these stories about, and I was going to do it tonight. I was really going to do it tonight. Actually, I got 2 great plans for tonight, right? That I kind of had to supersede my freedom story in the journey of my freedom and everything you're going to expect when you get out, because that's the story that really matters for all those guys that are still in prison and, they're waiting to get out and they need to know what to expect. And the people that are out here that need to know that there's somebody going through the same thing they are, need to relate to somebody about it. That's me. So I'm about to start doing all those stories and with my usual style and gusto. So I'm going to get into that, but I'm sticking with all my prison stories. I'm sticking with all my interviews. I just did a good one. Working on getting an audio clip of Millie's. So he did a feature with Millie's, and I'm trying to get that audio clip to do a sneak peek. I'm really hoping that comes through, because it'll be fire, dude. The kid's got a great story. But yeah, so tonight, until Boo Boo calls in, I'm going to do a little reaction to a video that literally needs to be reacted to. I saw it on my way over and I'm like, hell no, this is crazy. The exact same thing that's happening in California, or that happened already for the last decade, is happening right now in the max. It's happening right now in Massachusetts. And it literally made me be like, damn, this is the reason why we need to do this, because nobody knew that, California was controlling the narrative from within the prison for so damn long that nobody knew what was going on until all of a sudden you got this whistleblower coming out talking about they're lying and covering up the violence. Dude, these COs literally, they're basically like the gang. You know what I mean? So I'm going to get into this shit. And then as soon as Boo Boo calls in, we might have to finish that reaction, because this shit is so deep and so crazy. It literally links up to everything that's going on out here, as far as even the COs being in gangs, but that's not even the thing. Like, so what? They're in gangs, whatever. They're criminal, whatever. It's just the way they're doing shit behind the wall there, and the madness they're covering up, bro. So I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to get into this. Tum CWB 3232 LLR. Good show. Hold up. Maddie would have loved to do time with you and some other boyo from the sound of your stories. You boys get it in. Yeah, we definitely had it turned up in there for a little while, but the C-Dubs had it turned up too, man. They actually put in more like crazy shit than we did for a little while, because they would just do anything, jumping anybody. It wasn't good shit, you know what I mean? But they were still turning it up. But yeah, so let me get into this real quick, bro. This is so wild. Watch this. So check this out. This has crazy footage in it of CDCR. This is the California Department of Corrections. Check this out. Your Pale Horse Rider, what's going on, man? Love and blessings, bro. G Dubkin, what's up, man? What's going on? 2 fellas fishing. I like that. Boo Boo, God, I used to date him as a teen. Okay, Katrina. Yeah, Boo Boo. Hopefully he calls in very soon. I know he's good for his word, man. He's definitely gonna hopefully call in. So unless they're locked down or something bad's happening in the joint, he's definitely calling in. But yeah. So we're waiting on him. But until we do, I want to watch this and just show you guys what I heard and what made me want to share this with you. And like I said, it's the same type of shit that's going on in the max. Watch.
The inmates in California are running a...
By the way, this isn't my audio. Their audio is a little shaky, but it's kind of funny because it lets you know, like, even big channels, like this is Vice, right? So even big channels like Vice have audio issues. This had to be during editing. They had to fuck it up during editing, because it sounds like it would be good audio, but they might have turned it up too loud, like I typically do sometimes.
Muck. What is transpiring within the California model is not rehabilitation. They are failing to address the fact that these are inmates that have had an upbringing, indoctrination into gangs. CDCR controlled the narrative for a very, very, very long time. The only people that knew what was happening inside of there was the people that worked there and the inmates in there. Hopeless in prison is fucking bad, man, let me tell you.
You know what I'm saying? That's important to point out, right? Is that nobody knew what was happening in there except for the convicts and the correctional officers, because they were literally denying media the truth. You know what I mean? And that's what they're doing. That's, you know who started all that? It was Silva. Silva was the first, actually, sorry, it was Kenaway. Well, no, it was Silva. Silva did the media, he did the press conference when they did the riot in P1. He had the press conference the same night down in the Shirley Medium parking lot. And when he did that, he basically, you know, he lied. He said, like, you know, it was because we didn't get showers and we're just like these disruptive, you know, the way they lump everybody in all together all the time in prison, rapists, murderers, and, you know, whatever. But it's always got to be a rapist in there, right? But you know, we all know that they go to PC and shit like that for the most part, right? But that's just how they portray us, right? And not just that, but it's like, they portray us as monsters with no control, right? People that need to be controlled. We need more control is the message. We need more restrictions. We need more control. But this isn't the so-called message here, I don't think. You guys are gonna have to make your own decision, but this is wild. Listen.
My full name is Hector Bravo Farrell. So I worked for the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation for 16 years. I began in November of 2006, and I ultimately resigned in December of 2022. The way I started out as a prison guard was, my father was a CO, started in 1993, began learning about the career in high school, career day, and ultimately the goal was to join the military at the age of 17 and then get out at 21 and then apply for corrections.
It's crazy how so many different COs have the same journey, right? They go to the military, then they come home, and with lack of other options, they have all these, you know, a lot of their friends are probably correctional officers. Then they're like, you know, this is the best option for me. You know, you get the benefits, it's good pay depending on what state you're in. But, you know, it's a security. It's like life security. You get this good job, but you don't realize what it entails. This dude went and worked there, and literally he's not working there no more. He quit. He's a whistleblower now. He does a podcast and shit. Like, he talks all about how fucked up the Department of Corrections is and all the shit that they're doing. And just recently I had a CO reach out to me and wants to come on my channel. He was like, he was a block officer for me. Like, we done mad time. He's like, I'll come up there and back all your shit, bro. But yeah, so let's listen to it.
My goal was to do 30 years, 28 years up until my retirement age of 50. There was so many changes that transpired within those 16 years, man. Policy changes became very dangerous, very unsafe. The California model originated from a lady. She took a trip to Norway, more of a quote unquote rehabilitative, friendly, be friends with the inmates type.
Yo, listen to this, right? This part is important. So some lady goes to Norway, sees this prison model, and then they dub it the California model, right? And they bring this stuff over to California, but it's not the same. It's not going to turn out the same way. We have a country that is literally, you know, a whole section in parts of this country that are, the kids are indoctrinated as gang members. We are, you know, growing up in addiction. We're growing up in violence. We have a different upbringing than most of this world in certain areas. I mean, other than third world countries, but I mean, you know, I know you have to agree with that. There's certain sections in this country, these kids grow up much differently. They go to prison as the same person and become a worse person before they leave. The gang, you know, prison politics is penetrating, bro. It'll get to the most stoked person. You go into prison and you have no choice. Yeah, the politics is what it is.
Type of mentality.
Welcome to the California model, a revolutionary initiative transforming the incarceration system for all, committed to improving the well-being of those who live in, work in, and visit state prisons.
The first half of my career,
it sounds so pretty, right? They made that fucking promo video. It sounds so pretty.
the first 8 years was a real unique time because all the prison gang leaders, the Mexican Mafia members, the Nuestra Familia members, Black Guerrilla Family and Aryan Brotherhood members, they were all locked away in the SHU, in the security housing unit. Fast forward to the California model, prison gang leaders got released from the SHU, but we did see an uptick in murders. The California Department of Corrections.
Hey, you seen that book right there? That's called the Prison Litigation Reform Manual, right? Or the Prison Litigation Handbook. I have that same book in my room right now. That shit's like a Bible for anybody fighting the system, for real.
The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation had a general population side, which is your regular GP inmates, your gang members, your murderers, your robbers. And then it had a sensitive needs yards, S&Y, which is essence is protective custody. That houses child molesters, gang dropouts, informants, rats.
Well, this is their audio that sounds crusty, but it's such a good video. It needs to be put out there. So look at this, right? What he basically just said too is another good point. Like they separate, just like I said before, they separate all like the weird cons from the real ones. You know what I mean? Just to, kind of save, keep them safe from the real population, because they're not real criminals in essence. You know what I mean? They're kind of, weirdos, but yeah.
With the California model, somebody got the bright idea to mix GP and SNY inmates, in essence, enemies. So we were getting instruction from our captains, our associate wardens, not to lock up inmates, not to place them in the administration.
Okay, check this out. Right now, Massachusetts, this is one of the first big points, right? Massachusetts, right? They just created laws that make it so that you don't go to DDU unless you stab somebody more than 3 times, right? So this is one of the biggest things that I see, like the beginning of all of this madness that happened in California is all happening here. This is one of the first things. Now they made the California model. We're not going off of, some prison in Norway, and they're not trying to even pretend to be friendly to the convicts, right? Out here, they treat us like shit. But there was a time when Silva was a superintendent and he was being friendly to the convicts, and there was like no staff assaults for that whole term. As soon as Kennaway came in, like I said the last time, the shit turned out of control, and it's because of the policies he put in place. But the thing about them not sending the gang members to DDU and not, handling the violence within the prison, or making it so that it's a lot more lenient on the people that commit the violence. And now I'm not saying that we need more punishment. I'm not saying that people who commit violence deserve to get treated worse than they should. Like, I'm not saying that at all, right? I don't think anybody deserves to be in an isolation cell unless you're a fucking weirdo, right? If you're doing dealer shit, like you need to go be, protect the other fucking weaker convicts from your little sexual deviant ass, right? But other than that, like there should be, other things in place to kind of help people with their, mental traumas and their tendency for violence. I'm a huge believer in the fact that if they provide the right opportunities and the right things within the prison, that people will be a lot less likely to get violent. You know what I mean? If you have a lot of shit to lose, people are a lot less likely to get violent. If they think that they aren't going to lose anything, even if they get violent, they're a lot more likely to get violent. So they know this shit. The fact that they're going out of their way to make it sound like it's for us and this is something we wanted, like they're going to, step back on DDU tickets. They're going to step back on how many people they send to DDU. Like you have to stab somebody more than 3 times. We're doing this for you. Well, who's getting stabbed? You know what I mean? 2 times is all you really need if you got a bone crusher. So say if you stab him twice and you kill him, does that mean that you don't go to DDU? I don't know. But I do know this. The same thing also is happening where the gang members. So if you're in a gang, a blood or a crip, usually you'll get sent to the opposite sides of a prison, right? But the way they're doing it now is they got the orientation unit. I don't know if they have 2 of them anymore, but I know that they have the orientation on the north side, that they're putting any enemies right next door to each other. Like you don't get the opportunity to fight and like get separated, which is good. Another thing that I always thought would be good, you know what I mean? Like they take the opportunity or option to be a PC away from certain people. Like they'll have no choice but to act right. You know what I mean? But in some senses where like you have murder beef on the streets and then you come to prison and you get put right next door to the person brother that you killed, that's not an accident, dude. Sometimes I could say it accidentally happens, but when they're doing it all the time, like they're doing it, you know what I mean? And they know who everybody's is coming into that prison. They know, who you got smoke with, especially if it's like some well-known shit out in the streets, or your victim is one of these, like a well-known gang member and shit. They're throwing that person into the block with all those gang, like, you know what I mean? That's purposely causing violence. And there's a reason why they're doing it. Is what I'm getting at, is there's a reason why they're doing it. You know what I mean? So let's watch some more of this video. There's so many good points in here.
There's segregation. Well, these inmates were stabbing and slashing each other in hopes of going to the hole so that they can get removed off that yard, but we were not removing them off that yard. So in essence, they were committing a lot of violence and not going anywhere. So that frustrated them to the point where they knew they had to hit a correctional officer. They had to stab a correctional officer in order for them to finally get removed. And I had told my staff too beforehand, I said, hey, get ready, they're gonna start hitting us. From 6 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, every time those cell doors open, they came after us. Prison riots can happen for numerous.
Yo, not for nothing. And I'm going to get right back to this. I know you guys want to see this, but check this out. That's the only way sometimes that they make it so we can actually get shit done, is by absolute violence with no type of, middle ground. It has to just be go all in. Every time you see the cops, you go all in. And that's the only way we're going to get change for us. That's the only way we're going to get things to help us, because you can only torture men for so long before they snap. You cannot torture an entire population of men with nothing else until they and expect something different than this to happen. But yeah,
reasons the inmates racially segregate themselves. That can start a riot, man. Simply walking in somebody else's area, we cannot go over and change people's whole ideology. They are failing to address the fact that these are inmates that have had an upbringing, indoctrination into gangs. New Corcoran, there's a video of the Fresno.
Well, watch this, bro. This shit is so crazy. Now, this is the type of shit that I'm talking about is happening in the max right now. See, these guys, it's a group, a gang that they know has murder smoke with these other gangs on that yard, right? So they took them and moved them from one prison to another in a group fashion and put them on this yard. Watch what happens.
Bulldogs getting put on a yard. They're in their red jumpsuits. There's no correctional officers in sight. Sureños and norteños start attacking those Fresno.
And you see how they're all dressed in a different color? That's because they singled these dudes out. There's no fucking doubt in my mind.
Bulldogs, man, start stabbing them in the throat. He almost got decapitated by the cane. It's a miracle he didn't die. It left an unsettling feeling in my stomach. Everything they're saying is totally opposite of survival. CDCR controlled the narrative for a very, very, very long time, because the only people that knew what was happening inside of there was the people that worked there and the inmates in there. And if you're an employee, you are forbidden to speak about what happens in there without fear of retaliation or harassment or being terminated. And ultimately, you cannot cover up 72 dead bodies, 2 of which were 2 visitors, 2 female visitors strangled to death.
Yo, listen to how crazy this shit gets in there. Not for nothing, but 72 murders, bro. We've had, in comparison, right? Check the max out. We've had about two murders, maybe in the last 5 years or something like that, right? This is 72 murders in the last few, I think he said few years, right? Or a year, right? That is absolutely ludicrous. There's got to be people dying all the time, two, 3 every 3 days. You know what I mean? There's got to be a murder. That's wild. That's a lot. And that's crazy. That has to be an atmosphere of fear, retaliation. The politics out there got to be so thick. It could not be comfortable living in there.
Cesar Hernandez, a level 4 general population convicted murderer, escaped from Kern Valley State Prison. That's a fact. And that had never happened prior to the California model. In 2025, the inmates in California are running amok. They're running amok. It's a free-for-all. What is transpiring within the California model is not rehabilitation. If an inmate assaults a staff member, you don't reward the inmate by playing a game of foosball with him right afterwards. You have these new officers telling them to be frank.
But this is the thing where he's wrong right here, and I'm going to point out the rights and wrongs, right? So this dude has been wrong a couple of times, and I didn't point it out before, but look at this, right? you don't treat men like animals and expect them to act like men. You treat men like men and they will act like men. You give them the mutual respect, but also you gotta be, you gotta, you know what I mean? Like these dudes are in prison, for instance, right? They're gonna push, yeah, because they want stuff they don't have, right? It's natural instinct. People in prison want stuff, right? They want to live a little bit more comfortable. You could call it manipulation. I call it just trying to get by in the best way you can, right? Yeah, it's manipulating a little bit, right? But we're not all master manipulators just playing puppet master with the CO's minds and shit, right? We don't barely talk to them. And if we want something from them, it's almost simple, direct answer all the time. It's like, can I get a roll of toilet paper? No, yes. Can I get an extra tray? No, yes. It's not like, hey, let me get an extra tray and I'll make sure that you get taken care of or you don't get taken care of, one or the other. It's like no one's doing that shit, bro. It's not like that, bro. I mean, maybe when it comes to bringing in packages and shit, if you got some dirt on a CO, you go up to him and be like, look, bro, you either bring me that pack or I'm going to show up at your house, or I'm going to fucking have, I'm going to put that down and tell all your fucking officers or whatever the fuck it is, right? And, try to manipulate like that. 99% of the time, that CO is going to tell on you and move to a different joint. You know what I mean? Or just not say anything at all and just request a move or quit. You know what I mean? But yeah.
And these inmates. So not only is it setting you up for violent encounters, but it's also setting you up for manipulation. And inmates are masters of manipulation. We have been seeing incidents that have never really transpired within CDCR before. One of them,
just the fact that they had so many different cops spraying that gas all at the same time in the same area is so unnecessary, dude.
A female correctional officer at Sierra Conservation Center in Jamestown. She was working in the control booth up in the tower, and an inmate managed to sneak his way up there into the tower where there's a rifle, and over an 8-hour span, he proceeded to rape her. And this is all.
I've never heard of such a crazy, mad thing in my life. This dude got up into a correctional officer's tower with a gun up there and in the possession of the officer, and raped this woman for 8 hours, an entire shift. What the fuck was everybody else doing? And like, she doesn't have any type of way to like get word out over 8 hours, dude. I don't know, man. That shit sounds so crazy to me, dude.
After the California model has been enacted.
And but check it out. Lynn she's like basically she's a big she works in the max. I could actually probably find a picture of her if I was willing to take the time to look right now. But her name's Lynn. She's a really nice lady. She works in the Susan Baranowski Correctional Center. She's worked there for many years. She's always been very nice to me. Every time I see her, it's like, hi, Matt, how are you doing? She's very caring. Like, she's not a correctional officer. She's not like regular administration. She does something else, like some type of like classification or something like that. Or programming. She's a programming administrator, right? So she gets people in the program, certain programs or whatever, right? So there's this dude, he was disgruntled. He did not, it was something about his meal or his religious rights, his religious food or his meal or something like that. And, she had control over it allegedly. So he gets her in one of the rooms up in the school area and basically beats her ass for like 4 hours, locked the door, barricaded the door, had her in there, ripping her hair out, beating her ass. You know what? I give her credit because she came into work after that and still walked in there with her head up, like, unafraid. But she definitely got some compensation for that. But that dude, and that's one of those things I definitely don't agree with. I think that's scumbag shit, bro. If you're going to find somebody and beat them up, let it be a man. You know what I mean? Or something I don't know, man. That just seems a little bit out of control to me.
If it was working, I would be fair enough to say it was working. But the 72 murders and the numerous attempted murders on correctional officers shows that it's not working. There's no more safety and security.
Yeah, you want to know why it shows it's not working, though? It's not because correctional officers are getting, it's not because the inmates are violent, right? It's not because the convicts are just violent, right? The reason why we know it's not working and the reason why correctional officers are getting stabbed is because they're acting like we are animals, bro. Like there's something that's happening to us that's making people lose their damn minds. You don't collectively lose your mind like that all at once. Like the whole prison just doesn't decide, I'm going to start killing cops today. Like every time we see cops, we're stabbing them for no damn reason. A lot of these guys are going home, man. Like people don't want to be going through that shit, bro. Like they do not, you know what I mean? And I don't know what the rules or laws are about prosecuting those guys that go after cops out there. But I could only imagine it's not that easy. Like they're going to at least get 10 years on and after their sentence, if not a life sentence for those guys with 3 or more felonies on their record, because California is a 3-strike state. You know what I mean? But like, and I don't know if it's still the same, but I'm pretty sure it is. Like, and there's got to be a heavy-handed punishment for something like that. There's no way that they're going to go out of their way and just start attacking all those cops like they did there for no reason.
There's no more consequences for people's actions. We just had an inmate murder 3 people, 3 other inmates in a year time span. How did that happen?
Oh, that's so crazy to me, because in Massachusetts, in the max, or in any facility in Massachusetts, if you stab somebody, or now the laws are different. And you know what, that'd be an interesting thing to know, is if you can stab somebody in the medium 3 times or less and not get DDU, or if that's just the max. I'm not sure, because I know that when double bunking was going on, they literally, I hit a CO in the face with a whole bag full of wet books and wet laundry, like smashed them in the face with it. Like, and I didn't get a DDU ticket or nothing, because they were not giving dudes DDU tickets at all. They literally wouldn't even write you a fucking ticket, but they would get you into court if it was serious. I got 3 months on and after. So they gave me they did give me a ticket for that one, but it was not DDU stamped, but it was DA referral. So I ended up getting 3 months on and after. It was really 6 months on and after, but they fucked up on the dates that I went. So they overlapped it by 3 months. Suckers.
There was an attempted murder on 2 correctional officers at Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility, August 2020. It was a Mexican mafia member. He was drunk with his entourage. They walk around with bodyguards. Apparently some words were exchanged between the correctional officer and the inmates, and they viciously attacked them with weapons. They stabbed the correctional officer all up in his mouth, knocked his teeth in, took the officer's baton, crushed his face. It's a miracle that these officers didn't die. They got stabbed, beat.
See, that's some wild stuff right there. You know, they stabbed his teeth out of his mouth, like crushed all his teeth, took his radio and smashed him in the face with it. And the difference, I think, of violence out there and violence here is the reason why it's happening. You know what I mean? Out there, it's for gang dominance, because they set up a model of prison which allows these things to flourish. You know what I mean? It's not like by accident. They allow these things to flourish. And if you keep listening, it'll tell you like how the cops literally they cater to them, and like they tell these other cops not to go after them and all this other shit, or they will get in trouble. So there's like a whole different dynamic to it than out here. Like there's no COs out here telling another CO that if they write a ticket on another convict, or if they, fuck with a certain gang, that they're going to get in trouble. No fucking way. Matter of fact, I think if a CO out here was to do that, they would probably get in trouble immediately. You know what I mean? Because I think there's a big difference also, is that in Massachusetts, they pay these correctional officers $200,000+ a year. You know what I mean? Like there's guys raking in $300,000+ with overtime a year, and that's not a lie. I looked it up. It's a legit fact. You know what I mean? Like you got guys raking in $280,000 a year. Like that's a big paycheck. Not to mention they get benefits and all that. You know what I mean?
Pepper sprayed with their own pepper spray. And what did the warden do at that time? He covered it up. How do I know this? Because I was a public information officer at the time, the PIO. I was the warden's right-hand man. An associate warden blew the whistle by sending an email saying, hey, this attempted murder happened because of the incompetent warden, the incompetent captain, and the chief deputy warden. And I got a call from headquarters from the director's office saying, hey, we need you to type up a letter to the media refuting those allegations against our managers. And I'm like, refuting? Why would I refute what is the truth? And 5 minutes later, I get an email saying, hey, don't worry about that letter. We already typed one up. And in that letter that she wrote to the public, it said, CDCR headquarters has full support of the administration at Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility. There has been no wrongdoings found. And I was absolutely disgusted, man, because it hadn't even been a day, and there had not even been an investigation.
Once But see, that's the same shit that's going on out here right now, right? So, and I know it for a fact that they fuck up reports purposely. Like, I know because they done it to me. So when I got smashed in the face with the move team helmet, I ended up going out for plastic surgery that same day. Like, I had serious injuries. I had a concussion. This is all diagnosed on record. Like, I had many stitches in my face. I had that plastic surgery on my eye because they cracked me in the face with a move team helmet while I was handcuffed and shackled on the floor, and a boot was pressed against my head basically to keep it still so they could smack me in the face. Like, and they did it like 2 or 3 times with that same helmet. Bam, bam, bam. But I wiped that team down. So whatever. I got 3 helmets. I ripped off their chest plates, fucking snuffed a couple of them. Like, they got a good one off of me. But, you know, when I got me on the ground, they made me pay for it. But, you know, at least they knew what time it was. They come in to fight me. You're not leaving like you don't know you were in one, bro. Like, so I trained for that shit. No bullshit. Like, I want it, you know? But yeah, so they wrote the reports, like, basically like blaming it all on me and kind of like washing over any of the shit that they did beforehand. So basically what they did was they wrote me a ticket saying I had a weapon, and it was really just a fishing hook for the toilet. And then they took all my property out of my cell, left me a razor blade on my desk. And then Ladico keeps coming to my cell telling me, you know what to do, you know what to do. And eventually, just because I couldn't let them leave without making them put in work, I did it. I cut up, made them come in there, and that's when I fought the move team. But I kept on telling people on my tier that whole time, like, yo, you guys got to say something because they're smashing our derbies, and every day there's another convict getting their head beat off the floor or stomped in or brought up to one of these little rooms, and literally they'll take one of your cuffs off and say you slipped your cuffs and beat the shit out of you. You know what I mean? Like, they were making it happen. Like, and it didn't matter if you were a solid convict or a fucking Skinner. Like, you could be anybody. Like, they didn't give a fuck. They had this control thing about like them over in DDU. Like, I think they just had one dude, like one correctional officer that came in over there, and it was like he was like an instigator for all of them. Like, you know, they saw something in him, like, oh, he's tough, and he's doing this, like, I'm going to follow after him. And he had a little crew of guys following after him. And, you know, you had already had the dude Samuels there, and Samuel was a little fucking piece of shit. He was already doing shit, like wicked dirty shit. And like, he hated his own life because his wife was getting hit with the Mandingo in the parking lot. But, you know, that was none of our fault. It was another CO banging his wife. But, you know, anyways.
I realized that headquarters Sacramento had covered up the attempted murders of those 2 correctional officers, I knew how far the corruption went up. The last and final straw for me to quit was we had an associate director come down from headquarters to Donovan prison and speak to all of us supervisors at the conference table. And this is what he proceeded to tell us. If an inmate tells you he does not want to be placed in handcuffs, you will not place him in handcuffs. So we were all confused and told him, like, no.
What do you mean, low red eyes? What do you mean? He's saying, you don't know why he's saying shit like what? What's going on from Revere? Oh, Josh, he's not gone. He's calling in. Yeah, he's supposed to be calling in, guys. I apologize, man. You know, that's the thing about these jail calls. And I feel like I almost knew, like, I almost felt it, like I was gonna have an issue because I did on Monday, and it was like, you know, everything comes in threes. So it's like I figured something would happen, but he has up until 7:30 or 8 o'clock to call, so he still has time and shit. And he only gets a 20-minute phone call, so it wouldn't even matter. Like, it would have been, I would have done the same reaction anyways. Wait, what? Boo's dead? Why would he say shit like that? No, he's not dead. He's in the feds, and he's doing actually greater than he ever has in his life. I talked to him fucking like 2 days ago. He's doing great. Yep, he's getting smashed with the Mandingo. And it's funny because I know the whole story about the whole thing. Like, so this dude Samuels, he got told by another cop, like, yo, you should probably go check the parking lot because I think I seen your wife out there type shit. So this dude goes, what? And runs out to the parking lot, runs to her car, finds her in the back seat with this freaking giant dude, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a black dude, bro. But Samuels is black, but his wife's a little white chick. And, you know, she wasn't even that bad looking. She was like a good looking chick and shit. And Samuels looked like a freak. Like, he was a little alien looking motherfucker. Everybody, well, you know, anybody who knows him will be like, damn, how did he pull that? But like, you know, he must have a piece or something. But like, she was out there with another dude, and the dude was like a big old dude too, bro. And it was funny because Samuels opens the door and tries to rip this guy out. You know what I mean? Right out of the car, and fucking and the dude turns around butt naked with the freaking Mandingo swinging, and or I assume it's not swinging at this point. It's actually adding to the fight because it's probably like, poof, poof, poof. You know what I mean? But he gets out of the car and just scrapes the dude butt naked out in the parking lot. So not only did he catch his wife, but he also got a vicious beating on top of it by a naked fucking Mandingo warrior, bro. Like, that shit's hilarious. But let's get back to this little reaction real quick.
Now that's not going to happen. Penal code dictates that we can place an inmate in handcuffs for our safety. And he said, no, we don't do what penal code does. That's what cops on the street do. If you do it, you're going to get in trouble. So I realized that they were blatantly violating the law, all to push an agenda. If I can turn back the hand of time to 2009, a perfect CDCR model would be release the inmates from the SHU, put them in a certain prison, okay? Crack down more on the inmates going to the sensitive needs yard, cut off the intake to SNY unless it was a legitimate reason, and implement rehabilitative programs at that time.
Damn, I can't even say that's not a bad model, bro. Like, literally, and this is what I say all the time too, is that these cops and COs, they don't realize just how closely our needs align when it comes to being in prison. Like, what they want, we want too. Like, they want the prison to be at peace. We want the prison to be at peace. We want more stuff for us. They don't know that that's what they want yet, because they're just thinking, oh, fuck these scumbag convicts. They just want to get over on us. But really, we don't want to get over on them. We just want to get what we want and need without having to do any of that nonsense. We could be getting, you could provide the max with enough, not comfort, but just enough to make sure that people have enough to lose, not to want to kill somebody when it comes time for that type of thing to happen. Or if like a correctional officer gets really crazy and you're at your wit's end already because you've been living with nothing, like, scratching the surface of insanity for so long that by the time something happens, it's like, boom, a light switch goes off. You don't even have control over it. And that's one of the things I almost don't blame that dude who grabbed up Lynn up in the program room and was like ripping her hair, beating her up. Like, that's never something I could do ever, right? But I can understand what happens to a person who loses all control. I understand what happens to a person who does something like that they might never intended to do it. Like, I think that already had to be in you at some point, like, to be like a vicious woman beater. But like, honestly, my case, and I know if you've watched my channel, one of the victims in my case was a woman. I beat her with a rifle because, she was one of the people that attempted to kill my brother with a rat poison and battery acid, like a cow, right? So I felt like, and she was like a man, she acted like a man. Like, I was having a girl come with me to do it. She backed out. I did it. I didn't feel good about it, but I felt like it was something that needed to be done, right? Because nobody gets to run around attempting to murder people and then fall back on the thing like, I'm a girl, you can't hurt me. Like, well, no, I can. People choose not to because, you don't do things like try to murder people with poison. But, when you do that, I feel like all everything's off. You know what I mean? Like, all those things just go out the window. Like, should I have done it? No, I don't promote violence. I don't think that I should have done it at all. You know what I mean? But there probably is other ways to go about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could have waited until he came out of his house and eviscerated him, but I didn't. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Don't do that. But like, that would have got me less time. Imagine that. Like, really, like, I could have got less time for, stabbing the kid out in his front lawn and then just saying, fuck that bitch. You know what I mean? Because she'll get to watch a fucking whatever, get fucking hit up. But like, and it'll be her fault. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems crazy to me. Like, I don't even know where I was going with that. I just get turned up sometimes.
Substance abuse, counselors, mental health treatment. When the laws changed in around 2014-ish, that's when these lifers started getting action and started going home. I saw the change in the inmates' behavior when it comes to hope. Hopeless in prison is fucking bad, man, let me tell you. So if there can be a perfect system, it would have been in 2009, but give them hope. I resigned at the age of 38. It did cross my mind to stick around and do my full career and collect a pension. How much value would that hold that I finished off my career, went along with the BS, and then now all of a sudden I want to talk, and now all of a sudden I want to blow the whistle? In hindsight, I figured it was paramount that I do it then and there while it was happening.
Yo, any other CO, right? If you are actually a man of the law like you claim to be, any other correctional officer, if you're dealing with this shit, if you're seeing what's going on here, and I know you do in Massachusetts, do what this fucking dude did before you retire. Quit now, because there's other COs that literally I talk to right now. Hit me up on different platforms. And I'm not talking about just one, two. I have three different ones, three of them I talked to, that two of them used to work with me in the max, or not work with me, sorry. They worked there while I was in the max and were my block cops, and like legitimately tell me like, yo, that place is so fucked up that I quit because I'm not dealing with this shit no more. Like I can't sit there and watch this shit happen. Like it is so wrong. You know what I mean? And salute to them for doing that. I wish they would get the balls to come up here and tell that story, you know, but we're working on that right now. So stay locked.
Real time. And I felt that it would hold more value. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation have opened up investigations into seeing who.
All right, guys, I'm really sorry, but this is the, let me see if you can see it. All right, so I hear from Boo Boo's, this is Boo Boo right here. Hold on, guys. Let me take the virtual background off real quick so you can see my phone. And look it. I don't know if you can see it, but it says, an email says, tell Maddie we are locked down. I'm not sure if I can call today. If they are with us, if they hurt us, I will. Or if they let us out, I will. Damn. Okay, Jay. Well, Jamie, tell him that that's perfectly fine. I know what happens behind the wall there. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, if he, I definitely, we'll get that. You know, this is the great thing is that he's going to tell his story one way or the other, whether it's today, tomorrow. But this is a story of somebody who has been through so much, and it could change lives for real. So I can't wait to get his whole story. But let's get back into this real quick. Hold on, let me change my my virtual back. Boom. All right, check this out.
Who's contacting me, who's talking to me, who may or may not be sending me information. So they're actually utilizing taxpayer money and state resources to try to go after people that want to do the right thing.
Yo.
They said that I got fired from the prison system. That's false and inaccurate. They said that I quit because I was going to get fired. That's false and inaccurate. I believe I'm living my purpose. I believe I'm living my passion. There's a reason why I didn't die in Iraq when I should have very well died, and a lot of my brothers did. There's a reason why I worked in the California Department of Corrections and saw what I saw and was able to leave and speak out on it. I believe my purpose is to speak to the masses, educate them. And you're right, I wasn't an outsider. I know exactly what it is to be human. It's a gift. It's a gift. And a lot of people take that for granted.
Great message there, guys, bro, for real. That's it right there, man. Damn, kid. Great message right there. Honestly, I give that CO super big credit for that shit. I see I had like fucking 7 people dip out on me when I said Boo Boo's not calling in. I apologize for that, you know, but he's definitely going to be calling in soon. So I have a great other story. I don't want to waste 2 different ones on the same live. So what's going on with everybody in this chat, man? I think I'm going to tap out for today. That was a crazy ass, you know, video. And like I said, yeah, Jamie's listening. But yeah, so I'm gonna tap out, guys. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. I'm gonna be getting Boo Boo's story very soon. He's in the feds right now, and you know, he's really changing his life from behind the wall, which is crazy to me. Like he's done more than I could say most people out here have, like as far as work on himself. And no, he's not crazy. he found God, which is not, that doesn't make you crazy. The drugs made him crazy a little bit when he was in there and he was doing them, I think, as they would anybody in that place on top of it. All that shit mixed together is going to make someone a little fucking not right. But, I appreciate you, Frederick S. Low Red Eyes, Ryan Tebow, I mean, sorry. Sadly, the good COs don't ever tell on the bad ones. You know what I mean? Like, that's another thing, right? When I was in Walpole and when I was in DDU, right? Out in front of my cell, there was an assault on a convict. It was really 2 days before the one that happened to me, right? He grabbed it was over this thing with Samuels, right? So he basically mentioned the fact that Samuel's wife was getting, hit with the Mandingo. Samuels got wicked pissed. He wasn't even escorting this guy. He ran up behind the kid, jumped on his back, and started slamming his face into the ground right in front of my cell, but not just right in front of my cell. No, at the end of the hallway, there was 2 mental health workers waiting to do the program that they were supposed to be doing at the end of, that's why he was getting brought out. He was going to that group. Those 2 mental health workers that were standing there waiting didn't say a motherfucking thing. And when they went to ask him, because he wrote a grievance on it and was going to, file a lawsuit against them as he should. And I think he actually did, which I pray he got paid for. But he 1 second, Katrina. Thank you, Pale Horse Rider. I appreciate you so much. Those are big for me right now, all that. So yeah, thank you so much. And if you want like a specific question to be answered, sometimes I don't see them. That's always the best way to let me see it, like the super chats or super thanks or whatever. I'll definitely see your question. I'll definitely be able to answer it if I missed your questions in the past. And I apologize because I do sometimes get so many comments. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's more than others, but yeah, I forget exactly what I was just telling you, what story I was just telling you. Shit. That's why I don't like to answer comments in the middle of my shit. It was important. I'm going to rewatch and be like, fuck, I want to finish that. But anyways, guys, you know what? Salute to you guys. I appreciate everybody for showing up. I'm going to be working on some really, really good videos, tonight, tomorrow, the next day. I got a New Jersey guy coming on. I'm going to be interviewing him online tomorrow. And yeah, too many drugs. Maybe so, Rick. Maybe so. But yeah, man. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be starting again. I'm going to be doing some online interviews. I have to use CapCut for right now. That's the only thing I could afford for my editing thing. But I just figured out like CapCut's actually not that bad. It's just different. It's not like high quality like Final Cut Pro, which I'm used to. But that's why Final Cut Pro costs $300 and CapCut costs like $100 or something like that. So it is what it is, right? We got fire content coming no matter where the fuck it's edited on. As long as it comes out these modes or, we do the interviews, whatever it is, man. Like, yeah, maybe not tomorrow because I'm going to be going on a little bit of vacation, but I can always work those online virtual interviews in wherever I have Wi-Fi. So yeah, tomorrow. I don't put off work for anything. Word, sorry. Gotta, you know what I mean? But like, I have to work. This is my life. This is my job. And for all those people who don't give a fuck about my excuses, well, I'm not making them. I'm just going to be working and I'm going to put in that work. I'm going to be making my content. I'm going to be editing my content and I'm going to be investing in my channel. So whatever those little donations, they've bought me so much, right? I'm going to try to show you some of the things that I'm using right now to, that make these lives and all my content that it's going to be so much better. This is the mixer. It's called a Scarlet Edition AI or 4i4. Then I got obviously these pro podcast mics, and I got the set of lav mics for the field recording, so I could go out and I could do the fire documentary style videos, which I plan on doing some more of. But this is my what I love to do. I love the podcast. I love the stories. I love to get the message, like to sit down, dig deep. I'm good at that. I'm good at following a story and creating it how I want it to be a visual in someone else's mind. You know what I mean? Makes it really good to watch, and you can actually get the message because you're actually going to listen. I've noticed that a lot of podcasts, people don't even really listen. Like they click to show support, hit the like button or something like that, but they're not really watching. They're just doing it to like show support. I notice on my podcast, because I look at other people's analytics, that people love my channel. They watch it from like most of my videos, they're watching from beginning to end, or they're coming in watching half and coming back. Like I have an average view time of 17 minutes on my channel. I have so many watch hours. I think I just hit, or I'm close to hitting 1 million views. So, we're doing things, brother. We're doing things. Show some love to the like button, respectfully, everybody. Yes, sir, Richard Dowling. One of the reasons why I watch this is to get an idea of what life is like for people I know who got caught up along the way. And you know what? There's so many different reasons why people watch, but that's a great one. Any reason why you watch doesn't really matter, just as long as you are getting what you came for. You know what I mean? And if you need something specific, as far as like a specific story or me to elaborate on something, feel free to say that. I'm here for you. Like this podcast and this message is meant to fulfill those knowledge gaps of the public. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm here for. Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. And the thing is that I'm not just sitting back hoping I get better. I'm actively putting in work to improve my delivery, to improve my editing, to improve my live streams, to improve the quality of my live streams. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, bro. I don't have any questions. Just glad to see you doing good, my man. Time to change this justice system. The tough on crime approach does not work. Absolutely fucking not. And yes, absolutely time to change. There's only so long like you can enslave an entire population without them knowing. You know what I mean? This is literally enslavement, and we have just been duped into it. You know what I mean? Because they set the groundwork in the laws to allow enslavement. Does that make sense? They did. Rob, I should have clarified. What do you mean, Jim? Oh, that's to somebody else on here? Okay. Well, yeah, if anybody wants to become a member to the channel for $2.99 only, right? I write, not AI, no other letters involved in it, just I write all of my stuff, right? And this is the thing, right? I've asked AI for help in finding quotes. I've asked AI for help in writing like the layout of my writing, my paragraph writing and things like that. But that was like for school, like, and then like I transfer my knowledge to doing it myself. I'm not letting AI create these things for me. If you read it, you can fucking tell that it's not like some computer. Like I'm giving you the information within my mind. You know what I mean? Like things that AI I don't think AI could do. You know what I mean? But yeah, but I do all this myself. Like I edit all my videos from beginning to end. I make sure I pay for the studio. I make sure I book the studio. I make sure I contact my guests. Oh, good thing I remembered this, right? I have a new email, right? I have a new email set up for anybody who wants to contact me to get on my show or about my show. And it's simply the W number podcast at gmail.com, right? I'm going to put it in the chat right now. Oops, no space, no spaces. Oops, keep doing it. Boom. That's my new email for this podcast. If you want to reach out, that is the email to use. My other email, unfortunately, I get so many emails, I could never possibly find them. So email me here and tell me, your name, what your thing is. Like if you want to be a guest, or if you know somebody who wants to be a guest, or if you want me to talk about something specific, that's the thing to do. I appreciate everybody once again. And I'm going to tell you what I'm trying to do right now so that if there is somebody who does want to help, we can get it done faster. I'm not asking for help. I'm saying if you want me to be able to do the content the way I've always done it, I'm going to need I will, and want it to be done faster, then yeah, you can help and get it done faster. So I need Final Cut Pro It's $300, right? I won't be able to pay for it until next month when I get my paycheck from YouTube. I spent all the money I got from this month on YouTube. I'm literally only making about $1,500 a month off of ad revenue and shit. And that's on good months. You know what I mean? Like, so I need the sharing, the liking, all that really makes a difference. Commenting, everything. That all makes a difference. But if you would like to help and help me get that little bit of money so that I can pay for my Final Cut Pro, and I'm also saving up $1,800 for the best camera. I'm trying to get 2 of them. I got help with one of them. So I think if I can just get the 18 for one, then I'll have 2 of the best cameras and I'll have all the best equipment. I have 2 of these mics. I got everything. Like I have studio. Oh, I'm a walking studio. I can interview somebody on the spot anywhere with the best equipment. If I have those 2 cameras and the Final Cut Pro, like literally, it's all I need. It's all I need. But yeah, I'm not asking for help. I'm saying if you want to help, we can get it done faster. And you won't be disappointed. I'm gonna be fucking crushing this shit. YouTube's my bitch. W number. Ow.